we're going to use pen for this, so a ballpoint pen will do, or one of your pigment liners would do as well. Now you'll recognize this box. This is an equal-sided box, and all of the increments are already there. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have a 9-foot ceiling, and we're going to build a room from this box. Now, as you know, we've chosen a 5-foot eye level, mainly because this would represent what happens in a floor plan, where the room is split at 5 feet and we hover completely levelly over everything in the room so that we can look down upon it and just see the tops of things. Also, for a standing female figure that's maybe 5'6", 5'7", a 5-foot height would be perfect for her eye level. So it's a standing eye level. It gives us a chance to see well all the tops of things as well as the fronts of things. And we've put the vanishing point right in the center. Our intention is to have 2-point perspective on this grid as well, and we're going to use a 45-degree perspective. So we're starting off with this right in the center to help guide that along. So this is our 1-point vanishing point. So 1-point VP, that's what that is. This is our horizon. It's also the eye level of the person that's making the drawing. And remember, the whole goal is to have an image that looks cohesive, that it's all seen from the same eye level and the same point of view. The next step is to take each of your corners of your back wall and use the vanishing point to determine the shape of the wall. Don't have any preconceived notions about this. Just allow the vanishing point to guide you toward what that line should be. So I'm lining up the vanishing point with my corner with 0, and I'm just making a line. And do your best to get as well into that corner as you can. That's why cross corners are so valuable. They really help to make it more accurate. So don't have any idea at all as to what this looks like. Just line up the vanishing point with the corner and pull towards yourself. And that will give you the line for the left wall. Extend the bottom line if you need to, because that's going to be the depth of our room. So we want to get that established. Now we're going to draw the lines for the ceilings. Do the same thing. Take your vanishing point and go through the top corner. Our ceiling is going to run off at the top, but that's not a problem. What's more important is that we see what's happening on the floor this time. And it's only running off a little bit, so. Whenever you make a vertical line, remember to use your parallel ruler to slide your set square along. I don't have that, so I'm going to line mine up with the bottom of my paper instead. Now it's time for our wall, to define our wall. So quite often in perspective, when a perspective line crosses something, another line, it's time to turn around and change direction. So where this line of our wall touched the depth of our floor, this is going to tell us where the depth of the wall is as well. So you just go straight up, use your parallel ruler, and go straight up from there. Keep on going. Now, eventually this will touch the ceiling, but as I mentioned, we're going to go a little off the page here. Not by much, but just a little bit. These two would eventually meet, you can see. And you do the same thing on the other side. And you can line your set square up with your parallel ruler. I'm doing it against the edge of the paper only because it's the best that I can do here. Now the next thing to do is to use the vanishing point to project all of these increments the same way you projected the four corners of the room. You line your vanishing point up with the increment and bring it forward, bring it toward you. Go all the way to the depth that we've chosen at the front here. Now, all of these increments are approximately ½ inch in width, but because we're working with relative scale, we can choose to think of them as feet. So that's what we've done. We've chosen them to be feet. And you'll see that all of the increments on the right-hand side are going in the direction of the right, and all of the increments on the left are pulling toward the left. That's what happens in perspective in order for what's in the distance to appear smaller than what the same thing is close to us. That's how we get that. And we don't go around bumping around in life and banging into things. We can see what's far away and what's close. And you just carry on like that. Do the other side, the side here. In fact, we should probably do both sides because this is our only measure for height. So we're going to need that. Keep it handy on both sides. Now you could do the ceiling too, but that's not necessary for this exercise. We'll just leave these here. To find our horizontal lines to complete the grid, you need to make a diagonal line from one corner of the floor, this bottom right-hand corner, to the top left-hand corner, and follow it until it goes to your eye level, because we can also get one of our vanishing points. So we're bisecting the 90-degree angle at a 45-degree angle. This is 90 degrees in perspective, and we're bisecting it at 45. Okay, so one diagonal from this corner through this corner up to the eye level, and that will give you two things. It bisects the floor at 45 degrees, and it also gives us our VP left at 45 degrees. So VPL, VP left, at 45 degrees. While we're at it, we should get our vanishing point right. We do that by going from the bottom left-hand corner to the back right-hand corner of the floor. This time don't draw on the floor, just save your projection and make a notch on the horizon. So it's as if you're drawing a line, but you're not. Just make a notch over here, and this will be your VP right. and it too is at a 45 degrees. The most important thing is that with this line that bisects our floor at 45 degrees, everywhere it touches a perspective line gives us the placement of our horizontal lines. And each of these, since we've decided that our increments represent a foot, each of these will be, each square will be a foot by a foot. So make sure you're doing this straight with your parallel ruler and go across and get your horizontal lines. And what you'll notice with them, make sure to go right across the floor though. If you don't go all the way across, you won't be able to put the verticals up. So that's the... Now this should go rather quickly for you with your lovely parallel ruler. And we have to take really good care of our drafting equipment. Don't put your backpacks on your desk ever, or do anything that will loosen or damage the very delicate wires, because as you know, you really come to depend on those desks for your drafting. And everywhere the lines from the floor touch the wall lines, you can go in and make a vertical line, and we'll complete the wall grid. Just make sure to use your parallel ruler and your set square to get these nice and straight. I have to say though, if you're in the back of a cab and you're on your way to the client and you have to make some hasty sketches, a small set square made level with your edge of your paper can really work wonders. But you see how fast and efficient you can be with the parallel ruler. Yeah, we're going to do both sides. Now, all of your squares should appear to be getting smaller as they move away from us. So if they aren't, then you're maybe not being accurate enough with your dots. That's why crossing your corners is very helpful. I think mine is a little off at the back here. This is a working drawing, so if you need to use a little whiteout, that's okay. As long as you keep it neat and legible for yourself, that's okay. We're going to draw an equal-sided box in perspective on our grid on a piece of tracing paper laid over top. We're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes down from the back wall and 1 box over. And why I chose that is because I can tell on the floor that that will give me an equal-sided looking box in perspective. So once you come down the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes and 1 box over from the wall, put a dot, count 1, 2, and put another dot, count 1, 2 back and put another dot, and then 1, 2 over, and now we've got that square on the ground. Now, there are many, many ways to draw a one-point perspective box, or any kind of box in perspective. One of them, if it's crucial that you draw a circle inside it, an ellipse inside it, is to draw it this way. Map it out on the floor first. That way you can tell whether it's distorted or not. So if you look at this box, you can't see a circle fitting into that box, can you? You can see an egg or an oval, but not really a circle, so that's not a good choice. This one is a good choice, and a few in the ones, any of the ones behind are as well, but they're small. So we've chosen something relatively big, and it'll work for us. So let's complete the line for the ground. We want to keep that, but now we want to go in opposition to the grid, and use your parallel rule and your set square and go up. We're going to start raising the side of the box. So go up, but you don't know how far, so just go up. Don't worry about how far. Because remember, we like cross corners, so that's okay. And bring the other side up. But working from the bottom would have been perfectly valid too. We need to know how tall to make it, and we want it to be an equal-sided box, a cube. So if it's 2 feet wide, we want it to be 2 feet high as well. So what you have to do, since our only measurements for height are on the wall, is walk it over to the wall and go up the wall for 2 feet. And furniture, you have to measure this exact way when you're working with the grid. You have to go right back to the wall, even if it's stuck way out here. You have to bring it over to the wall. And now I have to walk it out away from the wall. And here it is. There's the height of my box. So that's my 2 feet. So we're 6, the front of our box is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes away from the back wall, 6 feet, and 1 foot or 1 box away from the wall itself. So it's pulled away from the wall. Just like any one-point box, you use your vanishing point to find out how much smaller the distant aspect of the top of the box is compared to the part that's closer to us. So you line up your, without any idea at all, you line up your vanishing point with the front, the top left-hand corner of the box and see what you get. So line those two up and pull it back, because we're going, don't worry about how long to make it. Just make it long so you won't have a problem. If you don't make these lines long enough, when it's time to change direction, because 2 different types of line meet, they won't meet. and you won't know what to do. So you have to make sure. See, so this is what we have so far. We have our 2-foot by 2-foot box. We measured against the wall. And now we have 2 lines that go to our vanishing point to make the top. Just ignore that one. That one is there because it's my vertical from the front. We have to take the bottom to the vanishing point too. And we also have to do the inside of the box as well. It's really important that we use a dotted line when we're doing these hidden lines so that they read as behind what's in front of it. So now we have the base of the box that we began with, the front of the box. To find the top of the box, you just raise a vertical, and where it crosses the perspective line, you go across the other side. So it's all logical, one step after another. And where that crosses will tell me what 2 feet looks like back here. This is what it looks like up here. That's what it looks like back there. And you use your vanishing point to bring it across. And your parallel rule. We started with 2 feet at the floor. We took it over to the wall to find out what 2 feet looks like at this point of the grid. And then we took it back to our vanishing point and found out what 2 feet looks like 2 feet away on the top of the box. So much smaller back there than here. Now we have one more hidden line that we have to put in, and that's from the back corner to the floor. So, and we put this in as a dotted line as well, since it's hidden. So when you're working on your exercise, your first exercise, when I talk about hidden lines, this is what I mean. These ones that are in behind the object, and you're going to leave those in pencil. So this, for our first exercise, is the look of the box that we're after. So it's below the eye level, and it's over to the left of the vanishing point. And that way we get to see the side. But it gives us a nice box for an ellipse, to make an ellipse in. Now to map a shadow for our box, we've put a sconce on the wall, and that's our true light source. But what we also need is this dot, where the light hits the floor. And it's hitting the corner here, between the wall and the floor. It rayed down from here. Just follow the same line, and there it is. And as with the instructions, you don't think about it. You just project a line from each of the 4 corners of the box. Just project a line. And I've chosen a light source that's only 1 foot away, so it'll be a powerful light source, even though it's just a sconce on the wall. What truly happens is that the light source itself goes through the top corners of the box, and you project that down to this. Now this is a shadow for this line, and this is a shadow for that line. So these are shadows for our verticals. What we're missing is this line. So we have to know how long is this shadow. So if I project from the top of my box, the top front corner, down to the floor, and meet up with this line, That's where they meet. So that's telling me that's how big that shadow is. And I could just use my vanishing point to find this line, but I can also project again from the same point, project the top down to the floor, and you see, they line up just the way as if I were using the vanishing point. So this is the shadow for this side of the box. But we also have the back of the box. We have to see, is it casting shadow too? And it is. So if I take my light source again, go through the back corner of the box, it touches here. And it's in one point, so this goes straight across. Now this is shadow too, but we don't see it. It's inside the box. So this is the shadow here. So that's our shadow completed. So once again, this red line is the shadow for this front vertical. This red line is the shadow for that vertical. And this line, this blue line, is the shadow for this. And as you saw, we used the vanishing point to draw this. We used this point to draw these, the projections from this placement of the light source. And that's how that would look. Now, as far as the box itself goes, this is the shadow side of the box. And this is the middle value, and this is the top is the light value. So this is middle value. When you're flavoring with your pencil crayon, you don't do large swooping areas all at once. You just do a little at a time. And with these pencils, they don't require a lot of pressure, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on. You don't want to press with them. You just want to put a glaze, a nice glaze with them. And this part, we'll use the yellow for this part, since it's the lightest. And the shadows on the box themselves, they're darkest at the top because the surface this is sitting on is getting all lit up. So the light is bouncing back into the box. So they're darkest at the top. And they're a little lighter at the bottom. But then there's always shadow under the box. Now we're taking a look at our figure, and she's very helpful. She makes the box look a little bit smaller than we thought it was, or a little bigger. It gives us an idea of how big it actually is. To find out how tall she is, we need to do the same thing that we did with our box. We have to walk her over to the wall. So you just draw a line from her foot to the wall and go up the wall. And she has a lot of hair, so I'm just going to take a little bit off for that, to compensate for that. And we'll see how tall she is. So, against the wall, she is about 5'6", 5'7". So we've got her in there right, and we know that her 5'7" and how it relates to a 2-foot box, 2-foot by 2-foot box. Because her eyes are on the 5-foot eye level line. The larger figure, she would have to be right at the front of the room, and she would possibly make the box look very small. So if we placed her in with her eyes on the eye level, she would be right at the beginning of our drawing. And she would make the box appear small, I think. So that has a bearing, quite a bearing on what you're looking at.